9. Their attendance at the Milan LAN is currently in jeopardy, whereas LSE really only need a couple wins to solidify their position and be able to represent their region in Italy.
I think you said it right when we were talking about this before we got started here today. In the beginning of the season, the first half, you're always saying, oh, don't worry about it. You got a whole second half ahead of you. When you find yourself in that second half, though, it can be really difficult to claw yourself out of a position like the one G2 finds themselves in, which is 5th place right now in the European region. As competitive as Europe is, it's really not a foregone conclusion that they'll make it to the LAN.
No, not at all. And I mean, look at what happened. Look at what happened with the 6 Invitational. G2 winning a massive tournament, winning a massive amount of money, and an immense amount of prestige. I think as much as they love winning, they're probably not going to be heartbroken.
No.
Not being able to attend Milan because they're still going to be riding high off of their play at the 6 Invitational.
That's absolutely right.
Now, these operator bans. Nomad getting banned by G2, unsurprising. G2 always banned out Lion. And I think that Nomad is probably going to occupy that same role. And also a Clash ban against LSE.
So getting rid of Clash is going to be... there's obviously a reason to it, something they must have heard about, the way LSE likes to play on Villa. Clash is a very good operator. Let's not get that confused. Right now, she sits in a place where she's powerful, but the way that she's played is very different to her original intention, or at least that's the way it seems to me, where she has a very powerful SMG, and she can use her shield to slow down and gather information. But they're very separate from each other. However, whichever role you try to put her in, she is going to be useful, and that's really worth noting. So getting rid of that Clash, going to be quite interesting. We see Nomad, I think Nomad was banned by G2, but we have it up there as LSE's ban. I think these bans are opposite to what they are, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, Nomad being banned out, that makes sense. I completely agree with you, Parker. I think it's going to fill a similar role to Lion. Nomad is just too versatile in her current state.
So we'll see exactly what G2 is going to be able to conjure up with Kaid on his roster. You know, I think it's really interesting when we have new operators come in to see the impact that they're able to make, especially with good teams. Now, we obviously give an immense amount of praise to G2 for their consistency and what they've been able to do, but I mean, it's one of those things where what can they make work with Kaid?
On this map, there are some things that you can accomplish with him, but not as many as some others. Like, are we using Oregon Basement as an example? I'll use it again.
Oh, no.
Ooh, wow. That's huge from Aces.
That's a misstep.
Yeah, and look at this. There's still roamers on the far south side of this building. So allowing Ace's drone to make it all the way into sight, that was a big mistake from G2.
Yeah. You've lost the mirror, you've lost the hold inside of Master, though one of those walls in Master is soft, which is perfect opportunity for Hicks to be able to use the soft destruction that he has to open up that left side of the panel next to the ejected mirror window. Now, most Kaids in Pro League are running the shotgun with an ACOG almost as a de facto DMR because it does shoot a slug.
Yeah.
That's usually the preferred loadout. The AUG that Kaid comes with isn't exactly the strongest weapon, so it wouldn't be too much of a surprise to see I'm going with that position.
Look at this setup. You can see that Uno is waiting for the mark, but oh, he's not going to get it, and he's going to preemptively shoot out the floor. Jonas, though, not unfazed, and the challenge will not go his favor, as Aces will eliminate him and Goga as well. Pengu is trying to hold this cross, but the smoke is going to deny the information to D2, and they're in a bad spot. As Cantor Arcade gets eliminated, it's just Pengu, and it's not going to happen. What a take from LSE, surgically taking control of Astro, and then pushing onto the site.
There was, I don't think, enough of a call from G2 there to be able to bounce back as quickly as they could have. You know, they barnstormed in as LSE. They took control, as you said. They got that master control. They went to the bathroom. They took Astronomy after Goga was, or after Jonas, rather, was primed and ready and just laying prone or, as the maestro, and that was it. That's really all she wrote.
It was a really fast round,
yes.
And every move from LSE felt calculated. They were really on top of that specific round play. And it all started with Astronomy take. You get Astronomy, then it's a simple collapse onto the rest of the site. Because the truth is that Astronomy, while difficult to take in the first place, if you accomplish that goal, you have control over both the sites. Just from that one room. And it's so it's so powerful, and you saw that highlighted here from the stream. I love the way that they put that round together.
I'm genuinely puzzled with what G2 is trying to do on that defense.
That as well, yeah.
Right? They left the wall soft, the one wall panel leading into Master. There was nobody covering the mirror windows. Everything just fell completely to pieces, and I don't know if that directly impacted G2's style of defense, because there just seemed to be no teeth to it.
They were also way too heavy on the south roam. They got caught off guard. This is, I think, the stream reading into G2. Something we've all known about G2 for a long time is the way they like to play defense. They roam pretty substantially. They put players far out there trying to gather as much information as possible at the beginning of the round. And they're very good at adapting to the motions of the actual round on the fly. But in that specific case, Lestream was just too fast. The G2 roamers were caught off guard, and the anchors dispatched one after another.
And once again, the site is completely free, but Goga, 2 big kills to shut down Lestream, who take the bait, wander into the site, and it looked like Lestream had almost full control, but Goga so swift in shutting them down, knocking Lestream on their heels and putting them at a significant disadvantage. Pengu will be there as well, and Lestream's unbridled aggression that we saw in round number 1, bearing no fruit here. A quick answer back with 2 on the board for Lestream will draw that number ever nearer. But leave Alfama in an unenviable position all by himself as Hicks falls, and it's all G2 just simply waiting for the lone hard breacher of Lestream to close in on this site. Only 60 seconds was required for everything to fall apart for Lestream as G2 set the trap, and Lestream walked right into it.
Well, Alfama has a lot of time to work with because of that, but it's unlikely he's going to be able to make this work. Fabian is lit, so there is something going in Alfama's direction, but overall, this is a tricky spot, that's for sure. He's going to be confronted by 2 players, one on each end of this staircase, and it's going to be Fabian to get the kill. Alfama not expecting someone downstairs. So, this is, again, I feel like I say this a lot, but it's typical G2. You can fool them once, but the odds of you fooling them twice are slim. The odds of you fooling them 3 times are, well, that just doesn't usually happen. So, Lestream, 2 rushes in a row, not working out. Also, not surprising in the least. G2 was ready, Gogo was ready, and it was a round for G2. We're going to be having a quick rehost here, and we'll get back into the action as soon as possible, but the round count at 1-1 will persist.
Now, I wonder if Goga falls as Kaid in that position, how much of that round just completely goes to pieces, because Goga seemed to be the real only impediment to Lestream pushing into the site. He's playing inside of the bar area. He's got good control of the door leading in from study where Lestream pushed on in. If Goga falls and doesn't get that early 2-piece to set Lestream back and allow the rest of G2 to get back to site and essentially collapse on what was remaining of Lestream's team, then you have Lestream holding almost full and uncontested control of that site, forcing G2 to essentially retake a position that they willingly gave up.
Yeah, I could have seen that going Lestream's favor, that's for sure, but that's one of the things, again, that is so great about G2. You can rely on players like Goga or anyone else in his position to hold on to that position when it is so necessary, like that example. It allowed Pengu to rotate as well over by the main stairs, and the fact that he got into position, he was able to cut off the follow-up from Lestream, and at that point the round was pretty much over. Gamble for Lestream not paying off. And it's really that simple. You know, there's not a whole lot to look at, but you're right. The pressure was on Goga's shoulders, and he made it work.
I mean, he's a clutch player. Almost dropped from the team for me. I figure we need to get that out there because there are people who genuinely think that it was a real roster move.
Yeah.
I think it's worth noting that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Though there was a golden opportunity for him to change his name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could come and cast with me, and we could do that together.
He's objectively better looking than me.
So, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there was this whole joke thing that Parker and G2 were doing where...
I didn't do it.
Well, okay.
Fabian started it.
Fabian started it. Thank you, Fabian. And Parker was going to replace Goga on G2.
Fabian joked that Goga got cut and that I was on the team, and then it just kind of snowballed out of control.
Never stopped.
ESL got in on it, G2 got in on it, a whole bunch of different people got in on it. And I mean, it was enjoyable. But just to clear things up, in case you were actually curious.
He's here.
I'm here. In no way, shape, or form am I suited to play this game in any professional capacity.
Yeah, and I didn't join EG. But that was to a lesser thing.
That was also a joke that you said you were going to join EG.
It was a lesser thing. It didn't get blown out of proportion like yours did.
Well, I wouldn't say that it didn't get blown up. It gained traction.
Okay,
There was a golden opportunity there. Okay, there was a golden opportunity there, though, for Goga to change his name.
To actually do it.
And then possibly
commit.
be really confused. But, I mean, it's good and not disorienting for the viewers. So if you're in on the joke, ha-ha, ha-ha. But it was just a joke. That's it. Figured I want to address it because we would be remiss to just...
I feel like we're explaining it right now, so it stops being funny and dies.
Yes.
You know.
Yes,
and
please don't.
Please, just let it die.
Let it die.
Yeah. So we should have the match very soon for you guys. Again, the score just 1-1. We've seen 2 rushes in a row from Lestream. The first one worked out, caught G2 off guard. The second one, not so much.
Yeah.
Now, I'm really curious if this is going to be a continued philosophy for the attack strategy of Lestream. If they're just going to keep trying to attack within the first minute of each round, or if they're going to start slowing things down. That's a really big point of interest for me, because the first round did work really well for them, and you were right. The second round could have gone Lestream's way if Goga had not gotten that 2-piece in sight. We'll find out, of course, as G2 is going to go back to Trophy, site that they lost the first time they attempted to defend it. This time, they are bringing the Mira, but they're changing up the reinforcements, as you can see.
They've also dropped the Kaid that Goga was playing, and they've put him back on the Legion, which is very sensible for this site in particular. There's lots of narrow doorways that you need to go through, and a very high likelihood that triggering those goo mines will alert your presence as an attacker to the defenders and allow G2 to be able to give that information to the rest of the team and capitalize on it.
Yeah, Legion's mainly about information and area denial. The damage nerf is not huge, to be honest.
Yeah.
We also saw there one of the Twitch drones being eliminated by Goga. That's quite substantial. That means whatever mirror windows are placed will be a lot safer moving into this round. I'm curious where Cantor Ketty is going to put them. As, again, the reinforcements have been changed up from the last time we saw G2 defending here. As you can see at the top of your screen, the names are on the wrong side, but that will be fixed shortly. Don't worry about that. It is still G2 on defense. We've also got a Jackal in play. We've talked about how useful Jackal is many times before, and him going into this round is very likely to do a lot of work. This is interesting. It's a far south roam again from G2, but this time they put mirror windows in this position. Looks like one Twitch drone was able to get a mirror window, though, and that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for Cantor Ketty to roam here, but Pengu is there to support him. I like this setup. It will force a commitment from Lestream. I
mean, once again, G2 are just playing so far off site and essentially offering up control of the site on a platter, as tantalizing it may be, to see if Lestream is able to do anything with it. It doesn't really help that Uno is completely incapable of taking down his intended target of Fabian, as both members of these two teams will tussle downstairs, and neither will walk away victorious. Scars on both, though, but that early interaction for Lestream could have been a major deal breaker. It would have been another C4 for G2 off the board, even though they do have a mirror and likely a bandit equipped with those explosives, and would have been an advantage for Lestream heading into the minute 30-second mark. Though playing out this round longer than the previous two, with Lestream being a bit more patient and not understanding how to really crack this defense of G2.
So I have my answer. It is no. Lestream will not be rushing every single attack round in this match. As you said, they have substantially slowed down. We'll be going for Astro Control again. Someone on the stairs in Astronomy and by the bathroom. Hicks is going to take out Cantor Ketty, one of the roamers, as it likely rotates. Aces also gets Goga, so Astro Control now, and what a shot from Uno to get even more site control. It's just Pengu and Fabian, and where are they? Off site. They have to come back. Pengu's going to win his first fight against Rise, so that's a good one for him. C4 will miss, though, and there's still 4 attackers to retake onto.
They're so hurt. There's not really much that G2 is going to be able to do here, and they'll need to find a miracle to put this round in their win column. Fabian marches into the site as Lestream are on the other side. Diffuser going down, but it's fallen off. Fabian is in trying to look for one. He'll get Hicks, but immediately shut down by Aces, and Pengu with a fraction of HP will wander on into the smoke, and the moment he reveals himself, Uno will be there to put him down and give Lestream a second victory here on this site. Both times that Trophy and Statuary have been defended by G2, they have played a little bit too fast and loose, and Lestream's aggression has really put them over the top.
Lestream are doing everything they can in their trophy attacks to avoid the south side of the building and simply take control of Astronomy. And as soon as they have control of Astronomy, the round is effectively over. The retake potential is very slim in that situation for G2. And G2 keeps roaming south. They keep committing multiple bodies to the south side. And despite the fact that Fabian got away with much more than he should have been allowed to, it just was not enough for the round to be bounced back into G2's favor because they lost control of Astronomy with relative ease on the side of Lestream. Something that G2 needs to correct if they want to have any hope at winning their defensive half of Villa. You only have so many sites here. Looks like it is going to be a change, though. G2 not going back to Trophy. They are aware that... Actually, no, they are going to be going back to Trophy. Wow. Okay, so a double up here. Well, a triple up even, to correct myself, as we're seeing once again G2 committing to this. They have decided to forego the Mira this time around. I'm guessing they're opting for a more dynamic roam so they can play the site better. The main focus, as we just discussed, though, should be on that Astronomy room for G2.
You used reinforcements inside a study, but there's nobody there watching. In fact, Uno might actually be rewarded with this early entry on Pengu, who hears the marching footsteps of Lestream and immediately retreats as best as he can. Uno's aim was so good in the previous round, but you won't be able to see it on display as he's kill number 1, giving G2 a little bit of breathing room. So it was once again an early entry for Lestream, something that we've said almost every single time. And their pace on Lestream's side will need to hasten as they now find themselves down a man.
It seems like the stream is opting for a less information, more aggression type of gameplay here in Villa of all maps. There's a lot of places you need to know whether there's a defender lurking in on this map, and not having that information is going to really hurt you when something like Fabian holding that angle in the main hallway is apparently the case.
Once again, it's just Pengu and Fabian who are playing off-site, at least with not in striking distance of being able to return to either of the bomb sites and over in the trophy statuary side of things. It's just the mid-round, and Fabian primed and ready to go for a run-out, doesn't see anything, thinks better of it, gets back inside. Right call as it's Lestream now on the advance. They will finally hunt down Fabian, the IQ tasked with getting the pulse, and Rise pulling a rabbit out of his hat onto Kanto. Very few people are able to outmuscle Kanto's ability to land shots, but Rise doing an exemplary job there. As now Lestream are in a position to grab another. Out goes Goga, and downhill fall as now Aces and Rise double up on the main door, trying to head in towards the site. There's another body of the Maestro as he'll tempt Rise, and that Alda doing so much work. Pengu tasked with trying to help cut down the Lestream advance, and will do so quite well. Jonas watching the doorway, looking for the Zofii, sees the Telltale bullet tracers, and the Alda missing its shots. Pengu's fallen, which means that Jonas will be the only one left. Actually, Pengu, rather on 1 HP, a deceptive health bar here. C4 nets its target, second for the Dane. As he waits, he's prone. A light gust of wind will take him out, Michael, as there's not a lot of time left here to work with for Lestream.
Yeah, not a lot of time, but they will finally secure that man advantage. It's just one left for G2, and it's Jonas. He's in a good spot. He's got full HP, and Rise is lit, so the potential is in, especially considering there's only 25 seconds. Rise, with the diffuser in hand, is attempting to relocate to the master balcony, and you could see Aces just waiting for his teammate so they can pinch this single defender. They may not know where he is, though, and oh, what a shot from Aces! The final kill is in. Lestream take the round, and they have yet to lose an attack onto Trophy Statuary.
I think there's very few guns that are simply able to outmuscle the Alda on defense, and of course the F2 in the hands of a Twitch is going to be able to do that. It's definitely one of the best weapons in the game, and unsurprising to see how much damage is able to be inflicted by a good Twitch player. Aces, of course, checking all those boxes. Playing Twitch, great aim, good reaction time, and excellent read. Lestream's droning has actually been very strong, and that's where the support play comes in. Alfama and Hicks, largely the two members of Lestream who will be guiding in the rest of that team.
Their overall droning, but their early game droning has been a little bit wobbly.
Well, I would say it was wobbly through that last round, right? Fabian was able to get the information, get the kill, but Uno was also aware of Pengu's position before Fabian was tagged in to help cut down Uno in a great crossfire, eliminating the Maestro, and of course, you know the damage that a good Maestro can inflict on the Master Wall. Once Uno fell, we saw Lestream decide, it's not going to be a Master take, boys. We're going to go towards the other side of the site. We're going to go over where Trophy is because we realize we've lost our primary tool to be able to put pressure on the statuary site.
It's also worth noting, Maverick left unbanned on Villa of all maps. Similar to Clubhouse, but to a lesser extent, he is very powerful here on every site. So seeing him still in play, that's going to be a substantial boon to the attackers.
I mean, if you go with the belief that G2's insta-ban will now be Nomad, taking the role of where Lion used to be,
yeah,
that leaves their opponents with a lot of flexibility into what they can take out. And we've seen G2 run Pengu on the Monty on this map in particular. So Stream opting to ban the Montaigne, I think, is a smart choice. That would have put G2 having to do the Maverick ban. But Nomad, a bit tougher to deal with.
We've seen Montaigne be such a powerful force for pretty much any team that has a half-decent Monty player on their roster. And getting rid of him is something that I think it's a quality of life thing, similar to Lion at this point for some teams. What a reaction for Pengu. He's aware that there is a Maverick in play and will win the fight against that very player. Uno goes down early once again. First frag. It's a good start for G2, but we've seen good starts from G2 multiple times on Trophy, and they haven't been able to make that work. Now on AVG, they might be slightly more comfortable here.
Aces looks away at the last second. There could have been an opportunity for Goga to be able to grab a kill of his own, but he'll fall off. And Goga will just simply wait, almost tempting Aces to bother to push in as Aces decides to rotate around. You can hear the Aldo doing great work as Jonas wasn't able to clutch it last round, but he'll try to give his team a bit of an advantage this time. Alfama refrags onto Fabian, so both teams will lose one member. An information gatherer on G2's side will go off as the captain of G2, the Swede, Feld, meaning that the Pulse, his information gathering, and that Nitro Cell will not be available to his team for the remainder of this round.
Aces could be trying to take the hallway, but he doesn't have control of 90, and that is a huge gamble here for Lestream if they want to get aggressive on this position. Evil Eye was giving information, was likely been destroyed thanks to that explosive there from the lifeline. And now with that, less information on the main hallway, the west hallway for G2. But they still have the man advantage, and they still only have to hold for 1 minute.
I mean, if you lose the Evil Eyes and you lose the cardiac sensor of Pulse, the G2 is going to be flying blind for a lot of this. But the good news is that a site like Aviator Games isn't one that you necessarily need a lot of information on. You can hold down the narrow doorways. That's exactly what G2 is doing. They pick up 2 big kills. You leave Alfama all on his lonesome. He takes out Goga, but that's it. And G2 will shut the door on any opportunity for Lestream to be able to put themselves up by a greater lead than they were already seated at. Trouble in the water, though, for G2 through their attack, as they will now move to their very final round before switching sides, where G2 will take up the mantle of defense. But G2 will take up the mantle on attack. But rather, the big thing for G2, they've won both of their Aviator defenses. They have to go somewhere else now. It appears that it's going to be dining room and kitchen on that main floor. A wise choice, given that you've fallen short on trophy and statuary 3 times now. You need to take a chance and try to emerge with a draw here, because right now, Lestream in great position as the attackers on Villa holding an advantage of 3-2.
G2's regular gameplay of having those roamers off-site, able to play very dynamically and do damage or fall back as depending on what is required of them, is not something that has been working out for them on Trophy. It just hasn't. G2 needs to rethink how they hold that site, and I think they're aware of that now. They're not going to try it one more time. Kitchen might be a different story, but that remains to be seen. We know that the way that G2 is likes to play works well on Aviator, but that could just be the only defensive site that they're actually able to pull off. And if that's the case, Lestream are going to have, I think, a very good time in this map overall, but moving on to their defensive half. I think that Lestream have some great game knowledge here on this map specifically. They're aware of how G2 are playing, and while they haven't been able to crack the nut of Aviator, I don't think that matters if they can win this kitchen attack. I mean, effectively, they've already won their attacking half, even if they break even. So, yeah, Lestream are in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to see the teams do well on attack on certain maps. Villa is not usually one of those maps, though, whereas an attacking team, you're expected to win a fair amount of rounds. In fact, for a lot of teams, the goal on a Villa take is to simply try to walk away with 1 or 2 and stop the bleeding, and hope you do well on your defense. Trying to keep G2 in this one is going to be Kanto Racketti's very first frag in this round, taking out Alfama, who is usually one of the last alive for Lestream. He's not usually in a position where harm will come his way. It's also the lone true hard breacher, leaving just the Maverick of Uno to try and poke holes in the defense of G2 on that main floor. It's going to be a tall task, though. He does have a blowtorch at his hands. He can cut through the wall, whether it's bandited by Pengu or not. This has been probably the slowest advance that we've seen from Lestream so far. 90 seconds in, and they haven't really been able to get much ground at all. Rise is in the building, but he's not really able to do anything as he's quite far off, and it actually looks like he will exit. meaning that Lestream is going to go for a rotate. Obviously, not liking the setup that G2 has on defense in certain ways.
Lestream here expecting a horizontal roam, spread far from the site, but it's a vertical one, pure and simple. And at this point, the roamers are already starting to fall back. Cantor Kitty, though, gets his second on the top floor. Vigil able to avoid the drones. Hicks is going in for the refrag, but he dies as well. That's 3 for Cantor Kitty and the first for Pengu in this round, leaving just Rise in a 1 versus 5. And he's going to go down the stairs, take out Pengu, so no more frags for the Bandit. Cantor Kitty, though, looking for his 4K, sprays through the wall, not able to land his shots. Looks like he eats one there from Rise, but on low HP, it's not going to matter as Jonas shuts him down with a simple pre-fire from the Alda, and G2 will get a nice and even 3-3 on the first half.
It's an unwinnable situation for Rise right there in a 1v5 going against G2, who are extremely adept at being able to cut off any opportunities for a comeback. I think G2's stats in 1vx's against Empire in the 6 Invitational Grand Finals were astonishingly high. So unsurprising to see G2 be able to pull that one through. And I gotta say, on that kitchen take from Lestream, not just losing Alfama, because losing your hard breacher usually means that one of the walls in the kitchen you can't get, possibly that laundry room wall that gets into the living room, that's also going to disappear too. You don't really have the same options to pressure the site when you only run that one hard breacher and they happen to be the first to fall. But a lot of credit goes to G2 there with how they were able to keep things really tight. That kind of disconnected loose roam that we saw through the first couple rounds that Lestream was able to take advantage of, win their gunfights, so on and so forth. G2 realized and reined it in, and reining in was the right call. And that's why we see G2 emerging on even footing with Lestream, but as you noted, that's a victory for Lestream, even if it's 3-3, just because of the way that Villa tends to play out.
Yeah, G2 had one real dedicated roamer. That was Cantor Kitty, playing on Vigil upstairs. They had no horizontal roam at all, effectively. They were a little bit in the periphery of the site, but it was on and off, back and forth. And Lestream weren't pressuring there. They were trying to clear out, again, on the south side of the building, find some roamers to pinch and get a man advantage, as Lestream expected there to be an abundance of them, given they're playing G2. But they cleared the wrong places first, and they lost somebody early on. As you said, the Alfama pick by Cantor Kitty to a drop down. That's lack of droning right there. It's simple as. There's nothing more complicated about that. Check the drop down before you push in through laundry. It's not a really difficult thing to do. From there, Cantor Kitty doing the entire roam game by himself, managing to get 3 frags and having a really substantial impact on the outcome of that round individually.
Unfortunate timing for Lestream, and they could have possibly been flying blind against Cantor Ricchetti, whose ability was active, but we saw it. Was it Uno that pushed in, and then immediately Hicks got clobbered by Canto as well, because the Vigil, using his cloaking, hard to discern where he was inside of the room above the site. You got Canto lying prone. He takes out Uno, and looking the wrong way is Hicks when he wanders in, as Canto was affected by that concussive blast of the Zofia. But because of that, it was a little too late. The coordination from Lestream wasn't there, and a second difference could have been the difference between 2 members of Lestream going down or the Vigil of Canto going down.
Yeah, well, it was an excellent round from Canto, and I think that's the main takeaway for that round specifically. But if we look at the way that the half turned out overall, 3-3, that's a decent spot for Lestream. You know, they're going to be, I think, a lot more comfortable going on to now their defensive half. And I think the thing that's going to change the outcome of this match the most is, can Lestream defend more than one bomb site? Now, G2 were only successful in Aviator and then finally Kitchen at the end. But it took them 3 failed attempts at defending Trophy before they determined that they couldn't do it. So if that had not happened for G2, this might be a very different scoreline if they had simply gone to Kitchen earlier or changed the way they played Trophy overall. But it's done now. And if Lestream doesn't have a similar problem on defense, then we could very easily see this going Lestream's way.
And keep in mind the gravity of this matchup in particular. It might seem kind of silly to say this, and for many of you, this following sentence might not be something that you're accustomed to hearing. But G2 might not make it to LAN if they fail to win on this match. Period. That's it. This matchup is almost certainly a must-win from G2, just from a statistical perspective, because Lestream will grow their lead over G2 and the rest of the competition outside of Empire. And furthermore, G2 will fall farther behind with only 6 actual games to play in order for them to try to punch their ticket to Italy.
We talked about it a little bit in the pre-match, and you're absolutely right. This is one of the most important matches in the entire season for G2, period. Bar none. And it's because of how far ahead the stream is. That's it. You gotta deny the points as much as you gotta earn them in G2's position right now. But as you brought it up, and I agree with you, G2 probably isn't gonna be heartbroken if they're not at Milan. I mean, you really think about it. They are the most prestigious team in the entire league. They've won more than anyone else. They've won 2 Invitationals, Harris Major, and several season finals. Not going to one season final, maybe it'd be good for them. Maybe it'd be healthy, all things considered. I mean, we don't know what's going on inside their heads, but I don't think that they're going to sweat it if they don't go. Of course, they're going to fight to go, but it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Yeah. So, let's swap sides and really take a look at what the stream is going to bring to the table. This is our second Caveira that we see, and we can just focus on Uno's play here for just a second. Villa is a great map to roam on, as long as you don't get pinched. There's lots of opportunity for you to be able to rotate, especially through the basement. A part of this map is so often neglected, and it's very difficult to have a suitable flank watch with the amount of stairwells and opportunities that can present themselves for the defenders to be able to get around. Now, with Uno on this Caveira, very similar to what we've seen from G2, you'd imagine that a good droning here is going to be the main difference as to whether or not the defense are able to break open an advantage with this operator.
Nice nade there from Jonas. He's going to take out... Ooh, Rise with a C4 from below onto 90. Great positioning there. You saw Jonas do a little bit in that round, but you got to say, the C4 there from the stream, well played. Fabian's going to try and counter that, but he's just going to miss the opportunity as Rise starts moving up the main staircase, and he will make it back safe upstairs. Could be cut off here from Pengu. That's going to come down to how this gunfight actually turns out. There's a lot of information on the side of Rise here, on the side of the stream as a whole. He will be able to calculate his push onto Pengu well. Only thing is, Pengu, of course, with that F2, great at close range. He might be able to outmuscle the Valkyrie. We'll see when the engagement eventually comes. We also have the roam from Uno. Could potentially come up from behind some opponents here, if given the opportunity, but no one is on the balcony. And oh no, Goga detects him. He sees the foot there for just a second, and this is effectively a free kill. There it is. Uno goes down, but Goga refragged by Aces, and it's a double for Aces coming up the red stairs. Excellent positioning there, and Fabian really not going to be in a good spot. 1vx, and he's down to Rise. Lestream take their first defense.
And a pretty commanding play there from Lestream to essentially just be all over, just not allowing G2 to gain a single ground. Not gain any ground, rather. G2 has this infamous rule where they try to always be within 5 seconds of one another. In that case, even if they were within 5 seconds of one another on Villa, there was absolutely no follow-up and no real connection from G2.
Yeah.
Goga in particular, who took out Uno but then immediately traded off by Aces. Aces pivots and reads very correctly that there's going to be another body pushing him, and he's able to get that second kill, which really is what broke things open at that point. And G2 responding a little hastily, I think, biting off more than they can chew.
I don't know if you felt this as well, Parker, but to me it felt like every single time G2 went to try and pinch one of the roamers from Lestream, they either didn't fully commit and were unable to secure the kill because of that, or Lestream maneuvered away from that pinch in the nick of time. That's how it felt throughout that entire round. Lestream were just always in the pocket of safety, and they managed to preserve their players long enough to start fighting back on the overextended G2, who are attempting to clear out roamers. Overall, it's a really great round from Lestream. You got to hand it to them. Now, that question I asked earlier, will Lestream struggle with trophy and statuary as much as we saw G2 struggle with this set?
It's a bit of a change here that we see from Lestream over the way that G2 structured things. You've still got the mirror window that's going to be placed on that triple wall leading into the master bedroom. There you go. It's going to be on display. The different side of the wall is unreinforced. G2 had left that right panel unreinforced. It's going to be the left panel here for Lestream, and an opportunity for you to return fire. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing to reinforce that entire wall and to put a mirror window on it. If it gets popped, then you still have some cover. But a lot of times it means that if you lose that mirror window and the whole wall is reinforced, it's going to give a major advantage to the attackers, because the defenders will have to play far back, as it's easy for somebody on G2's side of things to just simply hold and watch that area. Grenade's going to go in from Jonas, but it's cooked a little bit too soon, and Hicks is there, grabs one on Goga, but Kanto is able to shut that one down. And good presence from G2 as they now collect a second kill onto Alfama, and 2 anchors for Lestream will fall, prompting the rest of the offside players of Lestream to try to get on in. Rise very narrowly losing his head to Fabian as he just sails on right by, and, well, Fabian is gone. Ghost and a whisper in the wind as Lestream, I don't think they know exactly where the Jackal went as he retreats to that basement that we'd mentioned, often underutilized here on the map.
Great control here from Aces. He's able to hold on to Astro thanks to this mirror window as well as the A-bomb site. But Fabian finally gets his kill downstairs, and a second for him. That's Uno and Rise. Aces the last one alive, and he'll take out one. Good information on that mark, prompting Aces to the pressure from Bathroom, but he relocates. On the Maverick hole, oh no, misses the shot onto Kanto. Aces should have gotten that one, but a little bit of strafe from Kanto is all it took, and G2 will get the whole round because of it.
That's a hell of a shot through the wall. All it takes is one small dab of the Surrey torch, I believe it's called, onto the wall to be able to look through it and be able to get a kill. And it was a bit belated after we saw that blowtorch make its mark on the wall. Now, we are barreling towards a draw again, which really doesn't benefit either team given how competitive the top of Europe tends to be, but I think it disproportionately affects G2. As we've said before, G2 need to start getting points.
Absolutely agree with you there, Parker. If Lestream draw here, then yeah, that's not fantastic for them, but I don't think they're sweating it. If G2 draw here, that's going to hurt their chances quite substantially of going to the finals. So they need a win. They really do. And by they, of course, I mean G2. Now, over in this round, it's going to be Lestream, again, going to Trophy Statuary. So this feels very similar to the first half already. Difference in play style for both teams, but in these round outcomes, it certainly looks a whole lot like the first half. Difference being, of course, that G2 went to Trophy first, which was interesting. Stream, though, not going to go to Kitchen just yet. They're going to try this one more time at least. I, though, don't expect them to try it a third if they aren't successful here. As we've seen from both teams, the main strategy in taking control of this bomb site is astronomy. And we actually saw a good answer to astronomy from Lestream. That mirror window inside of Trophy, beautiful position there, and it afforded Aces a lot of control. And Uno, instead of being the first pick early on, is going to get the first pick early on onto Fabian, a very powerful player for G2, and the Jackal, which is going to allow for easier roaming.
And the only set of smokes from G2 as well, and that will be a massive tool on G2's arsenal that will not be available for them for the rest of the round. Now, when you bring a Jackal on Villa, you're not just bringing him for the ability to use that shotgun on soft floor, soft walls, but also because you need those smokes in some capacity. I don't doubt for a second that G2 strategy involved choking off probably one or two of these main doorways, possibly even a mirror window from Lestream with those smokes that Jackal would have at his disposal. Those are gone, and it's going to completely change the way that G2 is able to attack this site now.
Oftentimes, the justification for bringing a Jackal is not only how good he is at clearing out the roamers, but just as you say, the fact that he can also help in the site take with those smokes. You can see that Uno has been detected on 90, but his job is just to delay and distract for as long as possible, and he's doing an excellent job so far into this round. He's going to detect one player inside of Study, but that's the IQ of Goga, who will detect him in turn. And this could be a kill here if Kanto plays it right, and it's an exchange of blows, and Kanto comes out on the worst end of that.
Uno barely got touched, as I think Kanto was just a bit too aggressive. And once again, hey, maybe that quick swap of the blowtorch and the change of that speed really making an impact here.
Yeah.
So G2 is now rotating on themselves, allowing Lestream to get away scot-free as Kanto decides, hey, maybe we should push on in. And oh no, that was some team damage, if I recall.
Yep.
And not a great set here, as Uno will pick up his second kill. This time on Jonas. Kanto and Goga are low on HP, so G2 will battle from behind in quite astonishing fashion, allowing Lestream to just possibly collapse on what little is left of G2, as their advance will be known. The goo mines and the barbed wire will be triggering sound cues in which Lestream will be able to pounce if need be. Aces is in prime position, looking all the way down to 90 hallway if he pops on out. Kanto falls, or what little was left of him, rather. As there you go, Aces now maneuvers on in, and he gets the final 2 kills, tying a nice bow on that round in particular. And it only took the patience of the Legion playing just offsite to give the round victory to Lestream, who are getting closer and closer and closer to putting this game in their win column.
It was a really good win there for Lestream. Quite a one-sided affair, mostly due to the roam from Uno. He did so much damage getting 2 kills, but also able to distract and delay for Well, about 2 minutes as well. And he got out of that situation scot-free. As soon as Cantor Ketty started opening up the wall in study, he just fell back. And it didn't seem like G2 were aware of his retreat, making that round just continue to tick down to the 0 mark. G2 were rushed into an attack from the main hallway. Not an ideal push, with very little control, multiple crossfires to deal with, and not even control of the adjacent entrance to Statuary. That's just allowed aces to come up from behind. So overall, a really well set up defense from Lestream. Mostly, again, thanks to Uno. Also, the lack of a Jackal, G2 getting their Jackal picked off early, really did hurt them in clearing out that pulse. And it was a pretty one-sided roam, but also round overall. Now, we get to go back to Aviator here, and that's going to be a comfort zone for sure on the side of Lestream.
Tends to be the site that we've been confident in the defense to pull out a victory on too. So this is good territory for Lestream if you're here, though. They've already lost a bit of HP on their side of things from Aces, and Jonas as well losing HP. So this could have been an encounter downstairs in which it's a bit of aggressiveness from both teams. Not really paying off for either, though. Lestream's going to emerge from that a little worse for wear in comparison to their opponents.
This roam from Lestream it gives them good control over Master, and it is already starting to stall the G2 attack. This might be a really good play, though, from Jonas. That zap is going to mean that Jonas doesn't have to shoot, and he doesn't give away his position, and he's able to take out Aces, but it's a little bit too late, as Aces had already eliminated Goga.
There's a good crossfire established from Fabian to take out Uno, and 2 members of Lestream who were tasked with trying to hold map control will fall, meaning that it's all G2s for the taking, at least for the time being. Kanto Raketti has lost some HP as well in that ensuing scuffle, or a little bit early on. I think it was when Aces put pressure on Goga here, leaving G2 in a position where they'll be licking their wounds, but still, they have a numbers advantage. There's half the round to go, so plenty of time for both teams to work with right now, as it's just a bit of a stalemate to see who's able to pivot the best. Looks like it might be a miss C4 from Rise there. Is it some utility that Lestream will be looking towards possibly missing in the latter half of this round?
Lestream are in a good spot, all things considered, despite being a man down here. Got a lot of HP shaved away from G2, of course, and being on defense, all they need to do is wait. Kantor Ketty is going to be instrumental. He is unable to get the kill initially onto Alfama. He might be able to get it on the follow-up, though. He's going for it, and, gives away his position, and hits the shot! How does Kanto do it? Alfama with the advantage, but still manages to lose it out. The streamer in a bad spot, but Rise is going to fight back with a frag onto Jonas. And he has control of the west hallway, which is a very powerful position to hold, but he'll lose his next engagement with Fabian, leaving just Hicks in the 1 versus 3. He's in a power play position, though. With the mirror window and the bar for cover, he could theoretically win this round by himself. Lifeline misses there, and will actually, it looks like, disorient some of the attackers. The peak, though, will not be in his favor. A Fabian round through and through at the end, and G2 will take an attack onto Aviator. The first one, I believe, for either team.
Bit surprised that G2 didn't bother to clean up that final kill there, because that information that was being provided by your downed body on Lestream can continuously be relayed to the rest of the team, and you can effectively use that downed member of your team as a drone of sorts to be able to keep giving you the intel that you need be. Also, when you're in a 1vx situation, Maestro's one of the best operators on defense to quarterback that comeback. He's got good utility. If the Evilizer's still up, depending on where you've got them, you've got information that you can continue to give to the rest of your team, but you've also got an incredible gun in your hands. So,
important to note that the stats are not entirely accurate, as we've had now 2 rehosts, so who is doing well in terms of frags is not something that can be easily determined at this point in time. Lestream, because they lost on Aviator games, won't get to go back to this site. So it is, again, the comfort zone of this map for most teams. And that roam that they had seems to be a priority for them. So they're going to be setting it up again on the far north side of the building. We'll have a mirror window facing into Master. That will, again, delay quite substantially the push from that Master side. Now, last time, the way that G2 were able to deal with that is Jonas coming up the Astronomy Stairs. From the Astronomy Stairs, because the Twitch drone was in front of him, he didn't need to give away his position. by shooting the Legion Trap or stepping on the Legion Trap, which meant he could get the free kill onto Aces. And while it was a little bit late in the round, after Aces had just gotten a kill, it did give control of that roam to G2. And they were able to turn that into a round win. Now, you can expect the stream to be a little bit more attentive to Astronomy on this attempt.
And this round is really going to decide an awful lot when you look at it. I mean, we've got one more round after this. We're guaranteed to go the full distance in this particular matchup. It doesn't really matter which team wins or loses here, but I mean, you look at the rotation right now. Statuary is going to be unlocked on the next attack / defense, depending on which way you're looking at it here. And that's really going to be a pivotal moment. There's a minute through, Kanto's been down, and Jonas trying to do some essential artillery from below, using both those frag grenades on the buck, but they won't really find anything, as now Fabian losing a bit of HP too. And it's not good shape for G2. But Fabian is still there, he's able to take out Unomeister, and despite the fact that Kanto will be reset, or rather not, as Rise is just simply waiting to see if he gets pushed. Not exactly the best choice to stay out there for as long as he did. You could have gone for safe harbor, but no. Pengu's there, shuts the door. Still even though, as Alfama refrags onto Jonas. Fabian losing some HP earlier on means that once again the advantage. That pendulum will swing in favor of Lestream. There's half the round to go. Slowly but surely these rounds have tightened up as we've gone on longer into the matchup, showing that these teams obviously taking it quite seriously, but also that maybe you want to be a little bit more careful with your strategy. You can't be quite as unpredictable because eventually teams wise up to that type of strat.
Yeah, G2 being very calculating in their attacks as well, just in general. Goga going for the West Hall. Pengu has control of 90, so this is definitely achievable. Hicks is in a really important position. He needs to get at least one of these two players pushing from the West hallway if he wants his team to win the round, or at least deny them access to the West door. Aces by main stairs. He's going to land an excellent shot onto Fabian, and that's excellent control then onto the flank of the attackers, which they will have to relocate to deal with. Hicks takes out Goga through his own hole, leaving just Pengu in a 1v3. And he's going to get the first frag onto Aces. If anyone's going to clutch it, it might as well be Pengu. And he usually will in these situations. Doesn't have to deal with the mirror window, or so it seems in this situation. He's going for the spray onto the marks, but he's not able to land the shots. Those players have long since moved. Pre-fire's coming in from both players, but the pop-up from Mira and Alfalma gets the frag. Lestream will take that round and put themselves on the match point.
And that's 3 points that just disappeared from the board for G2. At best, they can walk away with 1, so 2 points lower than you really needed here. Lestream is guaranteed to walk away with a draw at best, or at worst, rather, a win at best for them. This could end up being a mortal blow for G2 and their march to Milan, and for Lestream, this could be seen as a defining moment for this team, trying to get a spot to go to LAN.
If they're able to win this, and by they, of course, I mean Lestream, to build on your point, then Milan looks very, very achievable. I mean, they're already in second place. And the fact that G2 won't get 3 points out of this, very slim odds that they go to Milan at this point. It's not, you can't count G2 out. If there's any team that we cannot count out of the running for anything, it is G2. But it's going to get very difficult from here on out, even if they draw here and get their 1 point. Very much for G2, if you are a fan, you will be hoping that they do draw this at the very least, because we can be certain that that 1 point will help them very much in the long run. Now, the stream going to kitchen, and they are going to be going for a roam upstairs as well. This is somewhat similar to how G2 defended kitchen the one time they were there, but a much more heavy emphasis placed on the actual top floor roam from the stream, where G2 only put Cancer Kitty on visual upstairs.
So, defining round for both of these teams here, struggling for the ability to draw, or a victory for a squad that is looking to prove themselves at international competitions after a disappointing exit at the group stages of the Six Invitational. Two very interesting storylines heading into this match between these two teams, and two teams who are consistently battling a little bit above their peers in European Pro League. Right now the presence from Lestream is on the north side of the building. Rise was not just a second away from Pengu on Repel, and that could have been a scary encounter for either member of this team. You see some marks onto that wall. inside a Master. Pengu tosses out one of the Twitch drones, possibly for intel. Keep in mind another change to those Twitch drones just for a second here. Is those lights in the front of it makes it far more visible. Whoa, what a flurry from G2 as they open things up, and in its explosive start, it's Uno adding to that as well with an explosive play of his own. The C4. Uno down below, not able to do the work needed. Oh no, you know somebody's up there, Uno. You've still got him on mark. Are you flummoxed just yet?
No.
Pull it off, but no, it's a little bit too late. An opportunity that is missed from LSE. A bit of a comical nature there as things go sideways. Looking like he has it again, and oh no, those metal beams, Michael, they proved to be LSE's undoing in that round.
That is unfortunate, but it is very hard to hit those shots, so you can't really put that all on Uno's shoulders. He's been having a good match, and he's going to have an even better one as we come down to the very last minute of this match. G2 in a commanding position, top 4 control, man advantage, and plenty of time to attack.
And there you go, Kanto Raketti takes out Hicks. And are you smelling a draw, Michael? Because I definitely think that we're going to see one here right now with the way that this is playing. Alfama and Uno, not exactly the two operators in the mirror and the pulse that you want, being able to hold this together, the small magazine for the Vector. Can't really engage multiple people. As it's going to be Alfama actually popping the hatch and going for a rotate. If he doesn't get caught out, it's actually a pretty good opportunity for him to collect 1 or 2.
If he's able to even things out here with 1 frag, that would be huge. He's got to seize this opportunity. He could get 2 very easily if he just keeps going forward. But it's going to have to be soon as there's only 30 seconds left. Uno in the far back of sight. Here we go, the aggression from Alfama. Uno's down, so it's just him in a 1 versus 3 now. He manages to take out Fabian, and he will narrowly miss on the planter. That is a huge misplay from Alfama. Kanto Raketti goes for it again after getting off the first time. C4 misses, but the shots will not. As Jonas goes down, Alfama has managed to bring this much closer to a potential clutch. He sees the head of the planter, but cannot land the shots. Kanto Raketti very low. Pengu, though, on a crossfire near island. Perfect position for both of these players, but Kanto goes down. It's a 1 versus 1. Alfama has so little HP, though, and Pengu will not be taken off of his position. As he plays the long angle, he only lands a single bullet, allowing Alfama even more clutch potential. He's going to try and stick it. Pengu, though, will hear this, relocates, and hits the shot. G2 will get a draw. LSE, such a close encounter there, but not enough.
An exciting conclusion to a matchup that proved to be as close between 2 Titans, or potential former Titans, depending on the way that you look at it. And man, what a conclusion. It almost looked like you could believe in Alfama being able to stick the landing, but struggled in the final seconds. Lots of information there was being relayed. We saw the marks on the screen as Alfama had so many tools at his disposal. A great heads-up play to be able to put pressure on Kanto Raketti after getting the plant down, but